Are you stressed about money and the economy? Seems like many Americans are feeling stressed and anxious. I did a poll on my YouTube community page asking how you're feeling about your financial situation, and the majority of you said that you're worried and you're cutting back. The next largest group said that you are prepared to ride the ups and downs. And then there were some who felt indifferent and was trying to block out all the noise, all the media, the sensation, the doom and gloom. And then there was a small minority of you who were excited for the investment opportunities to come. So this is the breakdown based on the responses I received from this YouTube community, and I thought it would be interesting to share. So I've got some thoughts I want to share with you. I've also got some newsreels and highlights, and this is not meant to be negative. So here's another thumbnail. There's so many thumbnails flying around like this on YouTube talking about how the economy is hitting Americans' personal finances. This is a reality. So it says here that 92% of Americans are pulling back. Interestingly, the retailers like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Best Buy are saying that the consumers are much more cautious.
We got big problems at Home Depot. They just reported their worst revenue miss in 20 years. Their sales are declining. Their income is down by almost 10% year over year, and their sales outlook for the rest of 2023 is bad. And that's because the recession is hitting Home Depot. Fewer people are spending money on discretionary items like home building projects. Fewer builders are building homes. The price of lumber has crashed over the last year. And the result is you go into their lumber section and the shelves are stocked. They're full. There's all this inventory that no one is buying right now.
While I am not a fan of hysteria and panic-inducing media and sensationalism, I do think it's important to stay informed of the changes that we're seeing in the marketplace, especially in the real estate market. Houses are not moving as much. The mortgage interest rates are high right now. People are not borrowing as much money to buy houses.
The U.S., however, we think is probably likely headed to a recession towards the end of this year, start of 2024. We think the primary driving force of that is going to be tightening credit conditions, as bank balance sheets, particularly among U.S. regionals, remain somewhat flawed and still have to be repaired in order to get bank lending going again. So we think that the drying up of credit conditions will be what will bring the U.S. to a recession at the end of this year, start of next year.
So this guy says that we're headed into a recession next year. Some people say that we've been in a recession for the past year. Just a lot of noise. Shoppers continue to report inflation is squeezing their finances, particularly among middle-income Americans. One survey said that 92% of middle-income Americans, those who are making between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, reported being somewhat or very worried about higher prices. Another study says that over the last 6 months, higher prices have led nearly 80% of consumers to cut spending on non-essential goods, such as entertainment, home decor, clothing, appliances, and more. Furthermore, 2/3 of Americans are saying they're spending less on essential items, such as groceries, utilities, and gas. So what I'm hearing is that a lot of people are cutting back on their spending, whether it's to be more conscious and manage their money better, or if it's out of sheer necessity and survival. This is what we're seeing. And it's not just middle class and lower income, it's the wealthy as well. This report by CNBC says that the wealthy are cutting back on spending due to the higher inflation. So gone are the days of the long lines outside of the stores of Rolex and Chanel and Louis Vuitton. Even here in Manhattan, as I walk around, it's pretty quiet. Wealthy Americans are cutting back on luxury items and shopping at discount stores more than usual. Households earning more than $125,000 a year slashed overall spending throughout the summer, according to Bank of America. Slashed overall spending. Interesting. And then, of course, the article goes on to say that this can pose a risk to the economy because if the wealthy stops shopping, then obviously there is a ripple effect. Now, we already know about LVMH. They've been reporting lower sales, slower growth. The article here by Financial Times says that they're suffering a vibe shift in the luxury business. Well, here's the head of LVMH, Bernard Arnault. You know, LVMH is the largest conglomerate in the luxury business. So if they're not doing well, that's kind of an indicator of how the business is doing. Anyway, here's what's happening in the jobs. So banking and finance postings are down by 40%. Tech postings are down by 50%. This means that people are not hiring. Companies are not hiring. So Google recently cut about 12,000 employees. Amazon also did a massive round of layoffs. Microsoft laid off about 10,000 of their staff, and Wells Fargo about 11,000 recently. So whatever happened to quiet quitting? I feel like there was so much talk about this, how employers were scrambling for talent and therefore existing employees were quietly taking a backseat and sort of slacking off. That has been replaced with now quiet cutting. Yes, this is the new thing. I'm kind of tired of these sort of like gimmicky buzzwords, but they are attention grabbing. So instead of cutting employees, companies are reassigning them.
The good news is they're not laying off employees. But the bad news is they're offering workers a chance to stay, but reassigning them to less than ideal positions.
In your consumer alert, the practice of quiet quitting, where workers give minimal effort, has a new counterpart where employers quietly push workers out. A Wall Street Journal report says companies are increasingly reassigning employees to other positions, hoping they end up quitting rather than firing them.
Obviously, it's a cop-out move, but I do think that companies are saving a lot of money by doing this quiet cutting or quiet firing because it costs companies money to do layoffs. They have to hire lawyers and they have to provide outplacement counseling. Sometimes they have to prepare severance packages. So, there's a lot going on in terms of money. Everything seems to be driven by money and financial reasons, whether it's at the company level or employee level or consumer level. Even charitable giving is down. Total amount of charitable giving is down by about 3.4%. And then it says that Americans gave 1.7% of their personal disposable income to charity in 2022, and that is the lowest level since 1995. So that's kind of depressing. I understand, obviously, that when it comes to financial security, we have to take care of ourselves and our loved ones first and foremost before we can give out into the world. I mean, it's the basic survival and basic needs kind of hierarchy. So I get that. What I want to do before I close out this video is to say that if you are stressed or worried or anxious about money, that, think of it rationally. What you can control is what you want to focus on. You don't want to focus on all the doom and gloom and all the noise and all the drama and hysterics out there. Obviously, we want to stay informed, but we can only control what's in our orbit. So your jar of money, what's in your bank, what's in your wallet, right? You want to preserve your money. Sometimes it's good enough just to preserve what you have. I know that the dollar is losing value every day with this high inflationary environment, but we want to protect what we have. Don't do any crazy investments right now. Don't do anything irrational or risky. There's this whole Airbnb bust happening. So many people are losing money. So if you want to steadily grow your money, great. Do it in a way that's a little bit more conservative right now. Obviously, there might be some great opportunities coming, so keep your eye out, stay educated. But for the most part, I think that you just have to come up with a plan for yourself. There is the economy and then there's your personal economy, and you might be doing just fine. So talk to a financial advisor. Talk to people who know more, talk to your partner if you are coupled up, and come up with a plan of attack. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you just come up with a plan and you stay the course. Don't do anything super emotional or irrational right now, especially if you have a long time horizon. If you're not retired, if you're not scrambling at the moment, then you can think long term because the market will always go up and down. What remains are the important things like health, our home, family, friends, the food. If there's food on the table and you're able to survive your basic needs, then we are lucky, we are privileged, we are blessed, aren't we? So this video was meant to be informative, but I hope that it lifted a little bit of your stress and worry, because at the end of the day, you have to look at what's in front of you and what you can do to control your finances and prepare for your future. So I hope you feel empowered, see the possibilities ahead, and have peace of mind that it'll work out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.